End-to-end testing always sounds like a great idea. And in theory, it is. Testing user journeys across services and seeing everything work as expected can feel reassuring. Many teams see end-to-end tests as their safety net, something indispensable, and spend significant amount of time and effort into maintaining them. But what if I told you that end-to-end testing can actually be a trap? It slows teams down, increases complexity, and becomes hard to manage. Ownership gets blurry, overuse is common, and in many cases, the return is far less than the cost. So, is end-to-end testing really worth it? Hey everyone, welcome to Engineerize. I'm Usman, and here we explore everything from technical practices to leadership and organizational challenges in software engineering. In this video, we'll explore when and how end-to-end testing goes wrong, why it's often not worth the cost, smarter testing strategies you can use instead, and if you still need to use it, the key principles to keep it under control. End-to-end tests are designed to verify that a system works correctly from start to finish. Basically, to make sure everything works together the way a real user would experience it. At a high level, there are two types of end-to-end testing: vertical and horizontal. The most common by far are user journey tests, which fall under horizontal end-to-end testing. These tests usually span multiple services and components that work together to complete a business flow. For example, a typical e-commerce journey might include signing up, searching for a product, adding it to the cart, checking out, making a payment, and receiving a confirmation. In practice, when most teams say end-to-end testing, they are usually referring to user journey tests. So in this video, when I talk about end-to-end testing, I'm specifically referring to user journey tests, unless I state otherwise. With that basic understanding in place, let's walk through the key pros and cons of end-to-end testing, and start with pros first. The first one is obvious: confidence. End-to-end tests give teams confidence on critical user journeys, the flows that matter most to your business. They verify that all the moving parts of your system work together the way real users experience them. End-to-end tests are particularly useful for smoke testing critical paths after deployments. A small set of end-to-end tests can act as an early warning system, catching major failures before users do. End-to-end tests help create shared understanding by describing real scenarios across multiple services. They give everyone a common language and a clear picture of how the system works, making communication easier when something breaks. End-to-end tests are also good at detecting environment issues. Many failures stem from misconfigurations, missing dependencies, or environment mismatches, and these tests often expose them first. But keep in mind, production can still differ from staging. So fixing issues there doesn't always guarantee they'll work in prod. Now let's turn to the challenges, the cons of end-to-end testing. The first big downside is slow feedback. End-to-end tests are heavy. They touch real services, real data, and full environments. That means they take a long time to run. And when feedback is slow, teams hesitate to deploy, pipelines get delayed, and the whole development rhythm slows down. Another big drawback is that end-to-end tests tend to be flaky and brittle. They often fail for reasons that have nothing to do with actual bugs. Things like timing issues, inconsistent test data, network delays, or environment instability. And when tests fail randomly, teams start losing trust in them, which is one of the worst places you can end up. Another big headache is unclear ownership. These tests usually cover flows that involve several teams, so when something breaks, everyone's first reaction is, well, that's probably not us. Then you get delays, finger pointing, and the test just sits there failing. So many times teams even remove the test from the pipeline to avoid being blocked instead of fixing it. Over time, these unfixed tests pile up, and that's how trust in the suite starts to fade. Another big drawback is that end-to-end tests are hard to maintain. As systems grow and user journeys get more complex, the number of tests quickly grows. Each time a service changes, multiple journey tests might need to be updated. Debugging failures across several systems takes time, and keeping everything in sync becomes a constant struggle. Next up, fragile environments. Most end-to-end tests run in shared staging setups. And let's be honest, those are rarely stable. Data gets messed up, services go out of sync, or one team pushes something that breaks everyone else's tests. Suddenly, failures pile up, and nobody knows if it's the code or just the environment acting up. And finally, end-to-end tests are very easy to overuse. When teams don't fully trust their lower level tests, the instinct is to add more and more journey tests just to be safe. But this quickly leads to a bloated test suite that's slow, fragile, and expensive to maintain, while not actually giving more confidence. Now we have a clearer perspective to ask. Is end-to-end testing really worth it? It's not all bad, but it definitely comes with some serious challenges, often leading to tight coupling between domains, teams, and environments because of its monolithic nature. So, is there a way to make things more isolated and granular, breaking complexity into smaller, more manageable, and better observable units? I believe there is. Let's explore some smarter testing strategies that give you real confidence without all this overhead. But first, let's quickly revisit the difference between user acceptance tests and end-to-end tests. End-to-end tests cover the entire journey across multiple domains to make sure the whole system works together. A user acceptance test, on the other hand, usually focuses on just one part of a user journey, verifying the business rules and user scenarios within a single domain. So if we run all the user acceptance tests in that journey, that should cover the full user scenario, right? Well, not quite. We are still missing something important. How can we be sure that each part of the journey is really speaking the same language as the other connected parts? This matters because even a tiny mismatch between services can cause the whole journey to fall apart. What's missing here is consumer-driven contract tests, as some of you might have guessed. Consumer-driven contract tests make sure the services involved in a journey agree on how they communicate, things like request formats, response structures, and required fields. Instead of waiting for slow and fragile end-to-end tests and then spending time digging through which field or detail caused the failure, CDC tests catch these mismatches earlier, faster, and with much greater precision. A mature domain-driven design system pushes most potential sequencing bugs down into their proper domains. This allows the combination of UAT and CDC tests to work at their best and cover the most important parts of what end-to-end tests aim to achieve. In fact, for most teams, this combination is often good enough, especially when supported by good team organization, solid engineering practices, and the right culture. Disciplines like DDD, Agile, CI/CD, and strong cross-team collaboration all have this testing approach perform at its best. But we can still take it one step further. By adding correlation IDs across the system, effective monitoring and alerting, canary deployments, and fast rollback mechanisms, you build an additional layer of confidence. These practices are already essential parts of modern enterprise systems, and they act as the final safety net, catching unpredictable real-world issues early, limiting their impact, and helping you recover quickly. With this in place, you gain strong confidence without having to depend on a fragile and painful suite of end-to-end tests. So far, we've seen why the end-to-end testing approach often isn't worth it, and looked at a smarter, more modular way to do things. However, there may still be situations where you want to use the end-to-end testing approach. For example, when lower level tests are immature or due to some top-down decisions. In those cases, here are some suggestions to keep in mind. Keep the scope tiny and focus only on a few business critical journeys. Ideally, 3 to 7 happy paths that really matter. Think of this as smoke testing. Pick them based on clear criteria like high revenue or traffic, regulatory exposure, irreversible actions such as payment capture, or high reputational risk. Assign a clear owner for each journey, whether it's a person or a team, and make accountability explicit so everyone knows exactly who is responsible. Use a shared repository for all end-to-end tests to make collaboration and maintenance easier across teams. Deploy changes independently to a shared staging environment. Run a separate, centralized pipeline to check critical journeys. Avoid blocking deployments on failures. Instead, alert the responsible teams and treat failures as early warnings, not deployment blockers. Structure your test design. Focus only on happy paths, not edge cases. Log a correlation ID for each journey, use isolated test accounts, and make sure every test uses its own data and cleans up afterwards. Elevate observability amid structured logs and distributed traces linked to the journey's correlation ID. When a test fails, automatically notify the journey owner and all impacted teams through Slack or email, including key details like the journey name, environment, last successful commit, correlation ID, the step that failed, and direct links to logs or traces. So these are my key suggestions if you still want to use end-to-end testing. But keep in mind, in practice, things can easily get messy. So here are the key takeaways of this video. End-to-end testing might sound great, but at scale, it's costly, fragile, and slow. Most of what teams rely on end-to-end testing for can actually be handled better through user acceptance tests, consumer-driven contracts, and solid engineering practices. Monitoring and fast rollback are what truly keep you safe in production. If you still want to use end-to-end testing, keep it minimal and structured. Think smoke tests, not a main safety net. Thanks for watching. I hope this video gave you a clearer perspective on end-to-end testing, its real cost, smarter alternatives, and how to keep it under control if you still need to use it. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and leave a comment. It really helps the video reach more people. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the upcoming videos.